Thank you everyone for joining again. Thank you for being here. And I thank God who has given me the privilege to be able to do what I'm doing. I must say that the quality of this video has not been the best. But like I said, it wasn't something I was prepared for. But because of the burden upon my heart, I started doing it. So I promised to improve, in everything. Today, I want to actually wrap up with the first stage of this teaching, the burden for the truth. And we've been talking about the church, using the picture of the things that happened in the old to understand the status or the stand of the church, where the church stands right now, or what the church is going through, or the situation of the church. We went through Ezekiel, we went to Jeremiah. We've seen a couple of scriptures, and today I just want to share with us this particular topic, which I have just made, the Lord has laid in my heart to bring to us. And the topic is Shiloh, a promise, a person, a place, and a parable. The first place we hear about Shiloh, it's in Genesis chapter number 49. And what does Shiloh mean? We're going to find out. Now, just to go ahead of myself, Shiloh simply means a place of gathering. Shiloh simply means a peaceful place. Shiloh simply can represent a place, a point of contact, where God comes to meet with his people. So Shiloh, a promise, a person, a place, and a parable. So I decided to bring in the scriptures, on this on my display, so that it makes it easier, and also to help me with my time. Like I said, I don't want to take much time. Now, Shiloh, a promise. The first place, like I said, in Genesis chapter 49, verse number 10, this was Jacob at his deathbed, began to prophesy. He got to Judah. He said to Judah, he said, the scepter, this is amplified version, the scepter of royalty shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh, the Messiah, the peaceful one, comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people. Now, here, that was a promise. It was a prophecy that went forth from a man who was dealing with God, who was Jacob, or Israel at that time. He prophesied. So it was a promise that the scepter shall not depart from Judah until Shiloh comes. And the interpretation here tells us that it's the Messiah, the peaceful one. So it was a promise by him. Then, for it to become a person, we have understood already that Shiloh simply means the Messiah, the peaceful one. Shiloh also means whom it belongs to. Said, until Shiloh comes simply means until whom it belongs to comes. Until the Messiah comes, until the peaceful one comes, which is Christ. So it was telling us, in prophetically, that that Christ was going to originate from the tribe of Judah, and at the end of the day, of course, that was where he came out from. So Shiloh was a promise by Jacob through God, and also a person, and that person is in the person of Jesus Christ. Now, a place in Joshua chapter number 18, when they have conquered the land and subdued the land, rather, let me use the word subdued the land, they entered. Remember, it was Moses that handed over to Joshua. Now, Joshua conquered, and he was the one who distributed the land, the inheritance, to the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, they got to Shiloh. That was where they erected a tent for the ark of the Lord. And it says in Joshua chapter 18, it said the whole congregation of the Israelites assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there, and the land was subdued before them. So we can see how it began to move. So the prophecy went forth in Genesis. Now Shiloh later became a place somewhere, all right? And it was erected. That was exactly where Hannah prayed unto the Lord. And God gave her who? Samuel. That was where Eli was ministering. That was where the two sons of Eli, were also ministering. That was also where the battle between the Philistines and the Israelites, where it came up that the Israelites went in with the ark of the Lord with the two priests, and the ark of the Lord was taken away from them. The ark actually at that point represented the presence of the Lord, or a point of contact, something that had never happened before. But because of the wickedness of the people of God, the chosen nation, now God allowed his ark to be taken. Simply means something that represented his presence to be taken. And also that was the same day that Eli died. That was the same day that his two sons died. That was the same day also that the daughter-in-law of Eli died. Not only that, a son was born whose name was called Ichabod. Ichabod simply means the glory has departed. So a place that was, set aside, consecrated for the things of God. That was a place where they were doing all their feasts and all the sacrifices. Like I said, that was the same place where Hannah cried unto the Lord. So God was answering them there, but something happened because of their wickedness. God wiped out completely Shiloh. If you go to Shiloh right now, the place where the Holy of Holies used to be, it's filled up with weed. The archaeologists are, excavating and all stuff. It's still there. So it was a promise, it was a place, sorry, it was a person, and it was a place. Now, later, it became a parable. In Psalm chapter 78, verse number 60, it says, he abandoned the dwelling place of Shiloh. So sometimes we say, oh, how can God destroy his church? How can God allow his... Say, it had happened before. We're going to say, let's go a little bit further. After 500 years, God, it became now a parable. Okay, that was when the children of Israel also began to sin in the time of so many kings. And Jeremiah began to cry out to them. The Lord spoke to Jeremiah and said, go now to my place, which was at Shiloh, and see what I did to it. So he was telling them, warning them. He said, listen, guys, the same thing that I did to Shiloh, that is the same thing I'm going to do even to this temple built by Solomon. The so magnificent temple that has never been seen before. He said, I'm going to do the same thing if you don't turn back to me. So after 500 years, the same thing happened. Then let's go down a little bit. Jesus Christ also prophesied this. This is it happened in Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. Jesus Christ prophesied this and said, this was in his time. The old was gone. Herod actually rebuilt the temple. Okay, remember they came back from captivity after 70 years from Babylon. Ezra, Nehemiah, and all that they erected, but it was just partly. It wasn't anything to write home about until Herod came up. Herod erected the temple. It was, remember, that was one of the times when they told Jesus Christ, when Jesus said he was going to destroy this temple. He said, what? This temple that had been built for a number of years, you said you were going to destroy it and build it under 3 days. I mean, is anything wrong with you? So that even at that time, it was still in building. It wasn't even perfected. So Herod built a temple for them, to show them maybe his love, how he loved the nation. But something happened. They got into Jerusalem, Jesus Christ and his disciples. He cast out those who were selling stuff at the temple. At the end of the day, after cleansing the temple, they were coming back. They were moving out of Jerusalem, and the disciples looked back and saw how glorious, how wonderful the temple was. And Jesus made this prediction again. He said, there will not be one stone left on another that will not be torn down. And what happened? By 70 AD, that temple was crushed down. So it didn't only happen in the very far history or in the very old, but it's also happened even in time of Jesus, after Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ prophesied because of the same sin that was being committed. Now, remember, God has always been looking for a place of abode. a place where he will come to have contact with his people. That was why he erected, he built the Garden of Eden. Okay, he made the Garden of Eden and put his presence there. Eden simply means the presence of God or the atmosphere of God, because he wanted to have fellowship. But it was messed up. The man was cast out. Now, based on what we have seen, also even in the places where God was having contact with them, they messed it up. God decided and said, you know what? I'm looking for a body. So God is looking for a body right now. He's not looking for a physical temple. He said that your sacrifice, I don't care. He said, I think in Hebrew, he said, I'm looking for a dwelling place, but the only place that I've chosen is your body. It is no longer of the physical hands. God does not dwell in a temple built by hands. And First Corinthians has this to say in First Corinthians chapter 6, verse number 19. He said, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit? You are not your own property. So God is dwelling right inside of us right now. Whatever that has happened, it actually has opened our eyes for us to begin to connect to God individually. It doesn't mean that it's wrong for us to go collectively, but let us reconnect ourselves back to the Lord. And if the church does not repent, if we don't come back to the Lord, the same thing that happened to Shiloh is going to happen. It's exactly what is happening right now. But it is only by the time we turn back to the Lord that the Lord can rebuild his church. The same thing that happened even in the time of Jeremiah, that the temple that Solomon, carefully and wonderfully built, this was a temple that God gave the architectural background even to David, and he handed it over to Solomon. But at the end of the day, the kings messed it up. The time Herod also built a temple, it was messed up. Now we are building houses instead of building people. Men of God are building houses, calling the house of the Lord instead of building people. And these houses, many of them are empty right now. And listen to me carefully. In the next few years, I don't know how long it's going to be, maybe between another 20 years, most of these places that are called, churches, they are going to be warehouses. They are going to be industrial zones. I'm sorry to say this, but that's the truth. You can quote me after some number of years and say, this is what I said. I'm not saying it because I'm boastful of it, because I'm telling you because of the things that I know, the things that we have learned through the scriptures. The way that the church is going is not the best way. We just need to return back to the Lord. I pray that the Lord will minister to each and every one of us, and for us to begin to connect back to him. Let us begin to have intimacy with him. That is the thing. That is the best thing so far. That is what matters. And I believe that by the time we come back to church again, we'll begin to worship the true God and not ourselves or money. Be blessed.